Would you like to play a game? How was my impersonation of John Kramer, aka Jigsaw, from the Saw movie franchise?
Hello. Do you want to play a game?
So, what's this kind of game exactly that I'm wanting to play? It's inspired by a random Twitter post that I made in November of 2021. It's really a fool's game, to be honest, one that I kind of seem to really enjoy playing a lot. It's where I try to kind of put on my Oracle hat and see if I can predict the future events of market convergence. Simply put, what are the kind of 10 merger and acquisition moves that I would like to see in the near future? Additionally, to kind of make it a little bit more insightful, I will explain a bit of my logic that will definitely be educational and entertaining. So, the first merger and acquisition move that I'd love to see is Amazon acquiring Kohls. Since late 2018, I've been adamant Amazon buy the general merchandise retailer Kohls. There was a time when JCPenney was being thrown around in the mainstream news cycle as kind of an Amazon retail target, but I just didn't think the potential asset was as valuable as Kohl's. For one, I like that Kohl's was outside of the traditional shopping malls. That's kind of a better real estate value for Amazon, that they would obviously want to utilize these stores for omni-channel retail purposes. Familiarity, since Amazon and Kohl's have had a strategic partnership for years. First, starting with Kohl's selling Amazon smart home devices, and now Amazon having like return centers within all the Kohl's retailers. I believe Kohl's is a kind of a better merchandising mix than JCPenney in terms of value to Amazon. I think Kohl's also has already tested grocery merchandising with its partnership with Aldi's, and Amazon could iterate that from their grocery store, Amazon Fresh, and applying checkout lists like Amazon Go, Just Walk Out technology. I also can really see that Amazon plus Kohl's mashup being a target killer. To kind of throw icing on the cake, takeover offers are being now thrown at Kohl's, stating that the retailer should get more aggressive to bolster shareholder returns today. The next merger and acquisition that I would love to see in the near future would be Peloton acquiring iFit Health and Fitness. At least this was on that original list. And for those that maybe follow me on Instagram, you know that I'm now an avid user of Peloton. I think their hardware is superb. I think their software is great. I think their overall user experience is top notch. That being said, when I did make this original prediction on Twitter, I was unaware of the current overproduction issues that seem to be plaguing Peloton. I like the acquisition of iFit Health and Fitness, the maker of a ton of kind of connected fitness equipment brands like Nordic Track, because I thought Peloton has been too slow at exploring additional exercise modalities from an equipment perspective. I know some analysts thought they needed to buy Tonal, Hydro, and maybe a few others, but you could really have gotten those same capabilities, arguably more of them at a cheaper valuation with iFit. Now, with Peloton under a $10 billion market cap at the time of recording this content, they likely will become an M&A target. That's the result activist investors are trying to kind of push for right now, which brings up the likely names of tech giants like Apple, consumer names like Nike, or even a content media player like Disney potentially looking to pick up Peloton. This one is likely in the I don't know what the fuck will happen space in my head, but I can see a eat or be eaten case being a reality soon. The third mergers and acquisition move that I'd like to see is Yeti buying Solo Brands. The Solo Brands name might not be familiar to you, but that's because it's a portfolio of adventurous lifestyle brands built around creating and enhancing great moments and greater memories. Sounds pretty aligned with how most consumers use Yeti products aspirationally, right? They are a portfolio of brands like Solo Stove, which was the beginning of the portfolio, and you'd likely have a cooler of beverages while hanging out by the fire or making some s'mores on the camp stove, right? Oro kayak and Isle paddle boards. These are obviously a perfect combination to strap on a small Yeti cooler. Chubbies, Spend enough of time in cities like Austin, and you'll likely see how much crossover these two brands have in the real world. Just kind of makes sense that Yeti and Solo brands would be together. The next one would be Spotify acquiring Sonos. I think Spotify and Sonos take each side of the software hardware equation and excel in their respective product offerings. Spotify has emerging market power both in music and increasingly in podcast distribution and discovery features. Sonos is kind of loved by suburbanites looking to build a comprehensive home audio system. A deeper relationship would help the combined company engage consumers across the purchasing lifecycle. The next mergers and acquisition kind of business combination that I would love to see would be eBay acquiring Network. While eBay goes deeper into culture categories like sneakers and trading cards, it would benefit them to pair that increased consumer attention with an adjacent shopping technology platform. It's kind of still up debate if live commerce will catch on like it has been in China, but eBay, in my opinion, doesn't have the luxury of sitting back and waiting to see if that does happen in the US. Network is a live commerce platform that has caught fire with Gen Z and early millennials. It has been described as kind of a shopping entertainment mashup of QVC paired with Twitter and Twitch. eBay needs to make a splash, and Network would be the asset I would be looking at to acquire. The next mergers and acquisitions prediction that I would love to see would be Coca Cola acquiring Constellation Brands. I believe beverage IP should be holistic. It seems the beverage giants agree, as convergence between non alcoholic and alcohol beverage companies are in full swing. Coca Cola has been the most active with strategically partnering with Molson Coors on Topo Chico hard seltzer and a spiked lemonade version under the Simply brand. They also have done a deal with Constellation Brands to create ready to drink cocktails through the Fresca brand. I know Constellation Brands was rumored recently to be in talks with Monster Beverage, but I think that deal is dead. And it also really didn't make all that much sense to me at the beginning. I like Coca Cola acquiring Constellation Brands. Firstly, because Coca Cola is already a big part of the Hispanic culture. So having them have like the beer equivalency in Corona and Modelo would be huge for just kind of marketing efficiencies and synergies. This also would give them the true access to holistic beverage IP combination that includes alcohol, but also cannabis, with Constellation Brands owning about 40% of the Canadian marijuana company Cannabis Growth Corporation. The reality of this kind of happening is really low, and honestly, a lot lower when you consider that the Coca Cola company has just deployed $6 billion for the remaining stake in Body Armor. I don't think they would want to have even more insane debt load on their balance sheet, but it's kind of fun to imagine the scenario, right? The seventh mergers and acquisition kind of activity that I'd love to see would be Amazon acquiring Activision Blizzard, or at least that's what I wanted to at the beginning. I guess Microsoft beat me to that in that November 2021 prediction list, but I still think Amazon wants to acquire a gaming studio. Amazon Game Studios has kind of been struggling thus far at creating that big gaming hit. They might stumble on something before an acquisition is needed because when they do hit on something, it will be massive because Amazon already owns Twitch and they can kind of get that distribution out pretty quick, create some incentives on that platform. The two obvious names for Amazon to purchase would probably be Electronic Arts and Take Two Interactive. I actually think EA should be acquired by Disney, so my preference would be on these two with Take Two Interactive. But another dark horse idea would be to make a huge run at Epic Games. Even though Jeff Bezos isn't technically at the helm anymore, he will want to own a significant piece of the growing metaverse space. And I think that Epic Games will be a major player in the metaverse. So this kind of all makes sense to me. The next business combination that I'd love to see would be Etsy acquiring Pinterest, or maybe Pinterest acquiring Etsy. Really, this is probably going to be a merger since both companies are essentially the same size. It just seems so obvious that Etsy and Pinterest should be a business combination, right? I mean, Etsy is creating the maker version of Amazon. Pinterest is kind of the maker version of Instagram. Connect the content with the commerce, and you have a surefire winner, or at least I think so, or maybe it's way too obvious because it hasn't happened yet, or not even many rumors of it happening yet. The next kind of mergers and acquisition prediction would be that Shopify should acquire Klaviyo. Klaviyo is an email and SMS marketing automation platform, and it's one of the top Shopify apps, boasting, I think, more than like 60,000 customers at this point. Shopify has become one of the most active corporate venture capital investors in the kind of the past year or two. They've backed a same-day delivery software, an online merchant financing marketplace, and an entrepreneurial accounting software. They've also made kind of a big bet on the mega private decacorn company Stripe. In my opinion, it's time for Shopify to kind of own more of the technology stack, and marketing automation feels like it's the right next move to me. And then the final kind of mergers and acquisition combination that I'd love to see would be Chipotle acquiring Sweetgreen. In the last 9 months, Chipotle has bought back around $300 million in value of shares. Instead of like continuing this aggressive stock buyback and maybe investing in a ton of these new store concepts, Chipotle should acquire a rapidly growing fast casual startup with a proven model. I think that name should be Sweetgreen. Chipotle and Sweetgreen really have a lot of the same business core values and business strategies. At a $3 to $4 billion market cap right now for Sweetgreen, dropping more than I think like a third since its IPO, Chipotle wouldn't have another kind of better opportunity to acquire that company than right now. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, consider hitting that like button to support me. Also, help me get to my short-term goal of 2,000 subscribers by hitting that subscribe button. I'd love to see you join me on this journey, but we need to fix the fact that slightly less than 70% of you watching this right now are not subscribed to my channel, and that makes me extremely sad. But just want to thank you again for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.